So I'd like to talk about Silent Hill Origins. So I realize I'm sort of late to the party with Silent Hill Origins, but I was really missing Silent Hill, the world of Silent Hill, and I've played in 1 through 4 and Shattered Origins and uh, Homecoming. So basically the list of the ones that I hadn't played was Origins, Downpour, and Book of Memories, Book of something, the Diablo one. I don't know. I don't have a Vita. And so for a while I was sort of debating whether, to get it on PSP or downloadable, like get a Vita and then get the downloadable Origins for the Vita, but then I decided to play it on PS2, and I actually ended up deciding to play it on an emulator because I'm too lazy to hook up my PS2. I'm pretty lazy. And then of course my PS3 with backwards compatibility died. And actually the PS2 emulator, if you have a powerful enough CPU, actually works quite well, and for most games it can actually create like awesome graphics, although it didn't work all the time in Silent Hill Origins, and then also it froze at the last boss fight. But the last boss fight didn't seem very interesting anyway, I just watched it on YouTube. So I guess I can't honestly say that I completed Silent Hill Origins, but I literally got up to the last boss fight. But I don't think I can port my save over to my PS2 from the emulator. But anyway, Silent Hill Origins, besides, I don't know why I'm boring you with details of the way I played the game, but well, I think the choice of platform is important. That's right. I really did have a reason for why I was talking about it. The choice of platform is important because I think Silent Hill Origins sort of suffers from being a PSP game, in that it's really, well, I develop PSP games. I enjoyed working on the PSP. I did Ratchet and Clank Size Matters and Secret Agent Clank. But the problem was that a lot of games for PSP were, sort of watered down versions of the PS2 ones. And I mean, I think we did a pretty good job with Ratchet and Clank, but I think to some extent it was almost like an issue because, like, the PSP is a portable system, and it should, be designed around short play times. And I think that's one of the reasons why the PSP was never, like, as popular as a Nintendo DS, because a Nintendo DS, you can just open and close, and, your game picks up, and usually the games are sort of designed around these shorter play times. But with the PSP, everyone's like, oh, we can do PS2 games, and so it's basically, like, here are the save points, they're, long levels instead of short levels, and things like that. And, but basically, Silent Hill Origins is sort of trying to work around the limitations of the controls of the PSP, and so they move back to the Silent Hill 1 sort of fixed camera perspectives, which can make some combat situations and some certain things more challenging. At least personally, I probably would have preferred, camera rotate on the shoulder buttons, and then, all the actions on the face buttons. But I mean, certainly, I think it was a relatively early PSP game, and drawing on the lineage of Silent Hill 1 was not necessarily a bad thing. But another sort of interesting thing about Silent Hill Origins, at least in my mind, it reminded me to early builds of why do I keep saying retrograde? I did the other video like 5 minutes ago, but anyway, still wearing the same shirt, yes, still recovering from PAX. Neverending Nightmares, in the very early builds, we didn't have all the streaming stuff in place, so basically it would, you would go to a room and then reach the door, and then it would fade to black, and then you would pop up in another room. And so that's sort of what they do in in Silent Hill Origins. And the obvious reason to do it, and certainly the reason they did it in that game, is because the PSP has a very tiny, well, not a very tiny, I mean, I forget, I think it was like 24 meg or something, I don't know. And so basically they make it so each room fits in 24 meg, and then you reach the door, dump that stuff, load the next one, or something like that. You don't have like a complex streaming thing, which we actually have quite impressive streaming stuff for Neverending Nightmares. At least I think so. And I didn't write it. I made Dan, the other programmer, do it. But I think he did a really good job with that. Anyway, but like it's weird because I think well, basically, I told Dan when we had the fade to black thing, I'm like, no, this is never going to work. I hate it. You know, we got to get the streaming in. So we got the streaming in, but then we still suffered from that problem where you're in one room and then you open, or you go through a door and then you're in another room. And so what we ended up doing was we had like a door closing animation, and I think that really helped. But like Silent Hill Origins is weird in that they don't have the door open animation or they don't have the door close animation. And like, at least to me, the door opening can be a really powerful thing, especially in the Fatal Frame series. I don't know if it's all doors. It seems weird. I don't quite get the hang of it. And maybe they do this to conceal, you know, streaming loads. But sometimes you sort of have to press one button and then you're on the door. And then you either have to push through it or push another button. I don't know what it is, but they have this really slow door open. And it's really good because you're sort of, you know, almost scared as to what's going to be in the next room. I mean, I think that was something they could have improved on. But I mean, in general, you know, the game just sort of felt like a watered-down version of a, you know, home console Silent Hill, which, I mean, I guess, you know, when you consider the limitations of the PSP is not necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, me playing it a million years later, you know, on the actual PS2, when, you know, the PS2 had Silent Hills 2 through 4, you know, it does leave a little to be desired. And, you know, the locations seemed like they had all sort of been done before, but again, I mean, I don't know. I've played a lot of Silent Hill games, so maybe that's, you know, just me. But also, I didn't really feel like the story was there. Like, there is a story, but they didn't really go through it. And a lot of this may just be because you know, no one wants to devote a huge budget to a PlayStation Portable game, which I think was another problem with the platform, is that you're essentially, you know, doing a PS2 style experience, or you could be, but you don't have the PS2 budget, or like you either have to do a PS2 style budget and then, you know, then you have to sell a lot of units on the PSP and then you're not going to be successful. So, anyway, I mean, I don't know if I would really recommend playing Silent Hill Origins unless you're super desperate for Silent Hill, which I guess I was in a position. But something interesting is, you know, using an emulator now, that potentially opens up the door for me to play a horror game that I've actually been avoiding. I got this at launch, Rule of Rose. It's still in the shrink wrap because apparently it was a buggy mess and had all sorts of control issues. But if I play it in an emulator and use save states, maybe I can, you know, see if there is the redeeming content in the game, because some people are really big fans, and the trailer was amazing. I basically pre-ordered the game based on the trailer, which maybe wasn't the best idea in hindsight, but then it came with like a soundtrack thing, which I was really excited about because the music in the trailer was cool. But then it was like 4 tracks. It was like the worst sampler ever, so a little bitter, but maybe sometime with an emulator I'll get through this and let you know what I think. But yeah, also I'm a big baby and suck at games and like to cheat a lot. So anyway, I guess I've rambled on. I guess my Silent Hill Origins was not exactly about Silent Hill Origins, but more about PSP and doors and emulators, so I apologize, but I guess there's really not all that much to say about Silent Hill Origins. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching.